Hello everyone, welcome to WebDev Warrior. In today's video, we are going to build a web hosting website template using Nextjs 14, Tailwind CSS and TypeScript. Let me show you the full demo of this website. So if I refresh the page, you can see we have the animations happening in our hero section. Then here, first we have a navbar with a logo and then nabling. The nabling have a very beautiful hover effect, and then we have a button of login. Here we also have a beautiful hover animation. Then we have this hero section, we have some text, and then we have two button. These two button also have the hover animation. Then you can see first our navbar is static. So if I scroll some distance, it becomes fixed and it changes background color, which looks very nice. Then we have this about section with scroll animation. So here you can see this about us section have a scroll animation. So here you can see it have a scroll animation. When we scroll, the element will come to the screen with a very nice animation. So here we have an image, some text, some description and a list, beautiful list type component. Then we have this hosting option section with beautiful scroll animation, and let's see what happened when I hover on this card. So here you can see this card have a very beautiful hover animation. So you can see it's very nice hover animation and it's looking very premium. So I'm going to show you how to build this kind of hover effect in a card. Here we have C plan button, and then we have this domain search option with scroll animation. Then we have the hosting solution section. Here you can see we have another beautiful component which is a slider, but this is very premium slider. So you can see this slider is very nice. So I'm going to show you how to build this type of slider using sweeper.js. Then we have this pricing card section where we have three pricing card: basic, standard and premium. And here we have a button with very nice scroll hover animation. Then we have this client review slider where you can slide from left to right, right to left, and it's also have a auto sliding feature. So if I wait some times, you will see it will auto slide. Then we have this block section, and finally we have this beautiful footer section. And here you can see we have a button. So if I click this button, it will go to the top. So it is a scroll to top button, and it's coming to the top very smoothly. And initially it's hidden, but if I scroll some distance, then it will appear in the screen, which is a very nice feature that every website must have. Next, one of the most important feature of a website is responsiveness. So let me show you the responsiveness of this website. So let me select first a mobile device. So now you can see everything fit perfectly. Here we have a hamburger menu. So if I click here, a sidebar will open where we have our home, about, service and all the nav links. Here we have a button to close the sidebar, and it will close the sidebar with very nice sliding animation. So if I click here, first you can see a overlay comes and then this main component comes, and if I close, it will close very nicely. So we are going to build this. Then you can see we have our about us section that fit perfectly in the mobile devices, hosting option card. Then we have this domain search. Then we have this slider. You can see in mobile devices it also looks very nice. Then we have this pricing section, then client review slider, block section, and then finally the footer. And here if I click here, it will go to the top. So everything fits very perfectly in the mobile devices. Now if I select another type of devices like iPad mini, you can see here it also fit very nicely. If I scroll, you can see every section fit perfectly in the iPad version. If I select another type of mobile like Samsung Galaxy, we will see here also everything fit nicely. Our website is fully responsive. In this video, I am going to explain every step from scratch. How to initialize a Next.js project, how to structure your project file, how to build reusable component, how to make your website responsive, and how to work with the third-party libraries in your project. And finally, I'm going to show you how to deploy your project in live server. So I encourage you to watch the full video to get a complete understanding of this project. And the starter file and the full code of this project will be given in the description. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section. And please like, share and subscribe our channel for more interesting web development project video. Now let's start building our project. Now we are going to set up our project. For this, I am going to create a new folder and I am going to name it web host template. And I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code. And in Visual Studio Code, I'm going to open a new terminal. Then I'm going to open my browser and search for Next.js. And then I'm going to open their installation page. And here we have a npm script for npm create next app latest. I'm going to copy this and here I'm going to paste it and add a dot slash so that every file will be added in our web host template folder. Then I'm going to press enter. It asked me, would you like to use TypeScript? Yes, we are going to use TypeScript. We will use ESLint. We will use Tailwind CSS. We do not need the source directory. And important, we are going to use app router and we do not need to customize our default import aliases. So I'm going to enter. Now it will take some time to initialize our Next.js project and install all the packages that are necessary to run a Next.js project. So let's wait some time to complete this installation process. Our installation is completed. Now open your tailwind config.ts. Here remove this extend part, so we do not need this part, and then open this app folder. So this is our main folder where we are going to work on, and here first open this global.css and remove all of this. We do not need this one. We are going to build this project using Tailwind CSS and we are going to style everything from scratch. Then go to the page. So this is the main page. So if you go to the localhost 3000, then this page will appear in the screen. So I'm going to remove everything here and I'm going to use a shortcut which is RAFC to create a component boilerplate and I'm going to name it homepage. So if you want to use this shortcut, you have to install a extension which is this ES7 React Redux React Native snippet. So if you install this extension, then you can use this shortcut to generate a component boilerplate very easily. Now I'm going to test if our Tailwind CSS is working or not. That's why here I'm going to give a class name of text9xl and then text red 900. And here you can see if I hover over, it will give us the corresponding CSS classes. So if you want to have this type of feature, you have to install another extension which is this Tailwind CSS intelligence. So you have to install this extension. Now I'm going to run npm run dev. Sorry, it will be npm run dev. And I'm going to open localhost 3000. Let's see if our Tailwind CSS is working or not. Here you can see we have our large text and the color is also red. That means our Tailwind CSS is working properly. Then here we have a layout. So this is the overall layout for our project, and here we are going to customize our font. So in Next.js 14, Google font is already integrated, so we do not need to import externally in our project. So here you can see it import the inter font from next font Google. So for this project we are going to use plus Jakarta Sans, and it will be imported from next font Google. And then I'm going to change this constant name to font, and here I'm going to remove this and I will use plus Jakarta Sans. And here first we are going to use the font weight, and I'm going to use all of these 200, 300, 400, then 500, 600, 700 and 800. We have to pass another parameter which is subsets, and here I'm going to use the Latin. Now here for the body class name we are going to use font dot class name. So that's it. And this layout we can add our footer and navbar. So if I add a navbar here and a footer here, then this navbar and footer will be attached to every page that we will create in this project. So we are going to work on this later. Then let me check if our font change or not. So if I inspect and I hover on this, you can see it says plus Jakarta Sans. That means our font is worked properly. Now we are going to change our metadata. So this is our metadata. So for this title I am going to give a web host template nextjs, and for the description I'll give this, so web host website template using nextjs. So this metadata is very important for the SEO purposes. Now if I check here, you can see our title says web host template nextjs. Next we need some images for our project. So that's why in public folder I am going to create a new folder called images, and I'm going to copy some images in our images folder, and these images will be attached in the starter file, and the starter file is in the description. So these are the some of the picture we are going to use in our project. Next we will need some icons to work in our project. So for this we are going to use an icon library which is called React Icons. So here you can see they have a lot of icon collection we can use. Now I'm going to open their npm pages, and here copy this npm script, and then I'm going to split my terminal and I'm going to paste this and run this. So it will install the icons in our project. Next in app folder I'm going to create another folder called components, and inside this component I'm going to create two folders. So one is home and another is helper. So all the helper component and helper function we are going to use this helper folder, and for all the home page related component we are going to use this home folder. And here you can see our React icons is installed successfully. So in home I'm going to create a file called home.tsx, and I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate. And this home component, we are going to add our home page related component, like different types of sections like client review section, then price card section, and then finally we are going to add this home component in our main page component. So here I am going to use our home component. Now we do not need this classes here, and in home we are going to give a class name of overflow hidden, so we do not need any overflow in our project. So this is our project setup. Now we are going to build the navbar of our website. So if I show you the navbar, here you can see we have a logo, some nav links, and then a login button with beautiful hover animation. And you can see if I scroll some distance, it becomes fixed and its background color changed to blue. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it navigation. And inside this navigation, I'm going to create three files. One is nav.tsx. So this is for the desktop navbar, and I'm going to create a component boilerplate using RAFCE. Then I'm going to create another file called mobilenav.tsx, which is for the mobile navigation bar, the sidebar that will open in the mobile devices. Then another file is responsive nav.tsx. Here we are going to declare our logic to make our navbar responsive, and also here we are going to add our both navbar and also the mobile navbar. Then we are going to add this responsive nav in our layout folder. So in our layout component, we are going to add our responsive nav, so that our nav is attached to all the page that we are going to create in this project. So that's it. Now if I check, here you can see now we have nav, mobile nav, and then home. Now open your nav.tsx, and the first div we have a class name of fixed width will be full, that means width 100%. Then we are going to add a transition, and the duration will be 200 millisecond, and we are going to apply a z index of 1000. So here we are adding the transition because later we are going to add this feature where we scroll, it becomes fixed and its background change, and it will happen with a transition. You can see it's happening with a transition. That's why we are declaring transition and the duration property here. Then inside this div we have another div, and this div have a class name of flex. Items will be center, height will be 10 VH, and in large screen height will be 12 VH. Justify will be between, width will be 4/5 means 80%, and MX will be auto. Now inside this div, first we have our logo. So logo, for this I'm going to create a div with class name of font bold, text color will be white, and text will be Excel, that means 20 pixel, or we can use 2 Excel, which is 24 pixel. Then inside this we have a span, and for this div we have the text host, and inside this div we have w, and this span have a class name of text 3xl, and medium screen text will be 5xl, 4xl, which is 36 pixel, and if we use 5 pixel, no, I think 3x 4xl is enough. And then we have font of bold, and text color will be yellow 300. So that's it. Now if we check, so you can see this is our logo. It's white, that's why it's not visible now. When we apply this background, it will be looking very nice. Now for this moment, I am going to comment the mobile name, and in home I am going to remove this text for now, so that we only have this. For now I am going to give this a background color of BG blue 950, so that you can see it what's happening here. So you can see we have our logo. Then after this div we have our nav link. So we have our nav links. So first we have a UL with a class name of, in large screen it will be flex, and in smaller devices it is hidden. Items will be center. SpaceX will be 10. In large screen SpaceX will be 12, and in extra large SpaceX will be 14. And then inside this UL we have a li, and inside this li we have a link which is coming from next link. And here first we have a home, and we have to provide a href, and for this one I am just giving a hash, and this link we are going to give a class name of nav link. So we are giving this link tag a custom class name which we are going to implement now, because our all other nav links will be the same type of styling. That's why we are creating a custom class, and then we are going to add this class, so that we do not need to repeat the same styling again and again for all other nav links. To create this custom nav link class, I am going to open my global.css, and here I am going to create a new layer, then components, and we are going to declare nav link, and here we are going to apply some Tailwind styling. So first we have relative, text will be extra large, width will be feet, and it will be a block, after block, and after the content will be empty string. Then after we are going to use absolute positioning, and in after height will be 3 pixel. Then after the background will be yellow 300, text color will be white, text white, and after width will be full, font will be medium, then in after we have scale x0. So first we are not going to show it, and in after hover we are going to show it scale x 100. Then we have in after we are going to add a transition. So transition and we are going to add a duration of 300 millisecond, and we are going to set the origin to right. So that's it. Now if I check, you can see we have this beautiful hover effect in our home component. So just like this one. Next we have 4 more of this type nav links. So now it's easy for us. We'll just copy this li, and the second one will be about, then we have hosting, then domain, and finally help center. Now if I check, so it's looking very nice. So we have all the nav links here. Next we are going to build the login button. So here you can see we have a very beautiful animation in our login button. So to build this button, I am going to create a helper component. So inside the helper folder, I am going to create a file called button.tsx so that we can reuse this button for our other component. So I am going to create a rfce button, and then this button will receive some props. That's why we need to give a types for this button. So for the props we are receiving the children, which is type of react node. Then we will receive a background color which is of type string. Now we are going to pass this here. So props, and now here I am going to put the background and children. So this will be now a button component. So button tag, and inside this button we have a span, and then inside this span we have our children. Now for the button I have a class name of, and here we are going to use our template literal so that we can use our props as a variable here. So first we have our bg, so that coming from our props. Then we have relative, height of 10, width of 32, in medium height will be 12, and in medium width will be 40, rounded will be lg, text white, overflow will be hidden, then font will be medium, shadow will be 2 XL, transition all, duration will be 200 millisecond. Now before, we are going to use the absolute positioning. Before, bottom will be 0, before left will be 0, before right will be 0, and before top will be 0, and in before margin will be auto, and before the height will be 0, and also the width will be 0, and in before it will be rounded SM, and before we are going to add a background color which is BG indigo 600, and we are going to add a duration. So before duration 300 millisecond, and the before animation type will be ease out. In hover, text will be white. In hover, shadow will be indigo 600, and hover we have, now we are going to add our before to height 40, and before hover width will be 40, and in hover before opacity will be 80. So now if I save, so our button component is complete. Now open your Navbar, and after the UL we are going to declare a div. So this div will contain login button and burger menu. So this div will have a class name of flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 6, and inside this first we have a button which is coming from our dot helper, and the text will be login, and we have to pass a props which is background. The children's we do not need to pass because the wrapping login text will be the children. And for the background, this one we are going to use BG orange 600. That's it. Now if I check, so this is our login button, but the text color is not working properly. So let's check. So here for the span we have to give a class name of relative and z index of 10. So now if I check and if I hover, you can see it's perfect now. So it's working properly. Now we are going to implement the feature where when you scroll, it will change its background color to blue and it becomes fixed. So for this, I'm going to give the background like different types of background like BG blue 500, and I'm going to give this a height of 100 pixels so that we can scroll. So now you can see it's fixed and its background color is not changing. So we're going to fix this now and implement this feature. So for this, in the nav, we are going to convert this a use client. So in nextjs, all the component is by default a server component, but if we need to use the use state, use effect types of hooks, then we must convert this component into a client component. So we convert a component, a client component, using this use client directive. So now it's converted into a client component. Now we can use our hooks here. So first I'm going to create a use state hooks. So it will be nav sticky and then set nav sticky and use state. Initially it will be false. Now here I am going to declare a use effect hooks, then an arrow function, and inside this we are going to create a function called handler. It will be an arrow function, and inside this I am going to check if window dot scroll y is greater than or equal to 90, then we are going to set our nav sticky to true, and if windows dot scroll y is less than 90 pixel, then we are going to our set nav sticky to false. Then in the scroll event listener, so window dot add event listener, and in scroll event we are going to call this handler function. So that's it. And then I am going to convert this class name into a template literal, and I am going to remove the double quote, and here I am going to check. So if nav sticky is true, then we are going to set its background to bg blue 950. Otherwise it will be just fixed. We do not need to change the back. So now you can see, so I have to reload this page. It's not working, I think. So we have to remove this background. So now you can see, if we scroll a certain distance, it changes its background color and it become fixed. Next, after this button, we have our burger menu. So for this I'm going to use a icon which is coming from React icons, and these icons have a class name of width 8, height of 8, in MD width of 12, width of 10, and in MD height of 10, and text color will be white, and rotate will be 108. Now if I say, let me change the background color here so that we can see the result. So here I'm going to use BG Blue 950 for now, so that you can see. Here you can see we have our burger menu, but initially it will be hidden. It will only show when we are in the mobile devices. I think the size is too big, so here we can give width 2.3 RAM and height will be 2.3 RAM. Now if I say, now it's looking good, and it will be hidden in the large screen. So if I do this, you can see it's hidden now, and everything works properly. So let me give a comment here. So this is the login button, and this is the menu button. So that's it. Now if I inspect, and you can see in mobile devices our nav links are hidden and we have our hamburger menu. Now let's work on the mobile navbar. So for this, the first div have a class name of fixed, not the first div. So inside this div we have another div which is an overlay. So these are overlay. So this div have a class name of fixed top 0, left 0, right 0, bottom 0. Not basis, it will be bottom 0. Then we are going to use a transform, then transition all, because we are going to have a sliding animation in our overlay also. That's why I'm using a transition all. Duration will be 500 millisecond. Z index will be 1000. Then background will be black. Opacity will be 70. And height will be screen 108. So now if I say, and I have to uncomment our mobile nav. Now if I say, you can see we have our overlay here. So black overlay. Next we have our nav links. So here we have a UL. This UL have a class name of text color will be white. It will be fixed position, and flex items will be center. Justify will be center. Flex will be in column direction. Height will be 100%. We are going to use the transform then transition all, duration will be 300 millisecond, and here we are going to use a delay of 300 millisecond because we want that first the overlay will come to the screen and after some delay the nav links will come to the screen. So that's why we are going to use a delay of 300 millisecond. Then we have width of 4 by 5, which is 80%. In medium screen it will be width will be 60% in medium screen, and background will be BG blue 900, and space Y will be 14, Z index will be 1006, 10,006, or we can use 100 and 1006 so that it is top of this overlay. Next, inside this UL we have our li with the link tag which is coming from next link, and here will be home, and href will be just a hash, and this one will be have a class name of nav link that we created previously, and that's the beauty. We do not need to reuse or copy our style again and again. We just need to copy this class name. Here we are going to add some extra classes, which is text 25 pixel, and in smaller devices text will be 30 pixel, and text color will be white. And now if I save, you can see we have this first link, home. So here we have a mistake, it will be nav link. Now you can see we also have our hover effect. So after home, we have about, then services, then we have, let's see what we have, home, about, hosting, domain, and help center. So this one will be hosting, domain, and then we have help center. So here it will be so after hosting we have domain, and then I'm going to copy this, so this one, and this will be help center. So help center, that's it. There something is wrong. We have this extra one, we do not need this. So here we have home, about, hosting, domain, and help center. And next we need a cross icon to close our sidebar or this navbar. So after the UL we have close button. So here I am going to use an icon which is FA X mark coming from React icon, and these have a class name of absolute. Top will be minus 1.4 RAM and right will be 1.4 RAM. Width will be 2.2 RAM. Height will be 2.2 RAM. Text will be white. So that's it. So if I refresh, somehow it's not showing. It will be inside the UL. So after this li we have this close button. So now you can see, now we have this cross icon to close our navbar. So this part is done. Next we are going to make our nav responsive. For this I'm going to open my responsive navbar and I'm going to make this component a client component. So use client, and here I'm going to declare a state which is const show nav and set show nav, and then use state. Initially it will be false. Now I'm going to create two functions. One is show nav, which is the arrow function, and it will set our show nav to true. Show nav handler, I'm going to name it show nav handler, and another one I'm going to name this close nav handler, and it will set our nav state to false. Now we have to pass some props in our navbar and mobile navbar. For the navbar we are going to pass open nav a props, and we are going to pass our show nav handler. And for the mobile nav we are going to pass show nav. So in the show nav we are going to pass our show nav variable, and another props we are going to pass here which is our close nav. So close nav, and here we are going to pass our close nav handler. So close nav handler, and now we have to receive this props in our component and then give these props a proper type definition. So first I'm going to open my nav, and here we are going to use a type of props, and here we are receiving a open nav props, which is a type of function that return void. And here I'm going to give this props, and I'm going to import our open nav. Then inside this navbar, when we click on the burger menu, so on click we are going to add our open nav. That's it. Then in the mobile nav we are going to define a type of props, and here we are receiving a show nav, which is type of a boolean, and we are receiving a close nav, which is type of a function that return void. And now I am going to add this prop in our mobile nav, and I'm going to import the close nav and a show nav. So next, when we click on this close button, so on click, we are going to close our Navbar. Now based on this show nav, so if this is true, then we are going to show our sidebar, and if it is false, then we are not going to show our mobile sidebar. So that's why I'm going to create a constant. So const nav open style, and here if the show nav is true, then we are going to make it translate x0, and if it is false, then we are going to remove this from our screen. That's why we are going to use translate x minus 100%. Now we are going to add this in our overlay. So we are going to make this a template literal, and here we are going to use our nav open style, and also for the nav ul. So for this, we are going to convert this a template literal, and I'm going to remove the double quote, and here we have our nav open style. Now let me check if everything is all right or not. So if I refresh, here we have our button hamburger menu. If I click it, you can see our nav opens with very smooth animation, and if I click the cross, it will close very smoothly. So our animation and our sliding all working properly. So this is our desktop navbar, and if I inspect, so this is our mobile navbar. So you can see first we have the overlay, and then this navbar component will come. So this working properly, and we do not need this background because we are going to add the background in our hero component. So that's why for now I'm going to remove the background for our navbar. So here I am going to remove this. So now you can see it's white, but when we add our this hero section background, this will looks very nice. So for now our navigation bar is fully completed. Now we are going to build our hero section. So if I show you the hero section, you can see here we have some text to button and a image. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it hero. And inside this hero folder, I'm going to create a new file called hero.tsx. And here I'm going to use my RAFCE shortcut to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home component. So here I'm going to add our hero just like that, and here in page we are going to add our home component. So now in the home, the first div have a class name of width full padding top of 4 VH. Then we have in medium screen padding top of 12 VH, and height will be screen, and background color will be BG blue 700. So now if I save, you can see we have our background just like this one, and here we have our hero text. And now if I scroll, you can see after some distance this navbar changes background color. So for now I am going to remove the scroll. So I am going to remove this class name here. Now in the hero, the first div And inside this div we have another div with a class name of flex. Justify will be center, and flex direction will be in column. Width will be 4 by 5, which is 80%. Height will be full, and mx will be auto. So by doing this, our text will be in the middle. Now inside this div we are going to define our grid system, because we are going to divide this into two parts. So one is for this text content and one is for the image. So here we have a div with class name of width full, mx will be auto, and we are using grid. Grid calls 1 for smaller devices, and in large screen it will be grid calls 2, and items will be center, and gap will be 12. Now inside this div we have our text content. So we have a div for text content, and then we have another div for image content. So this is for image content. Now I'm going to start with the text content. So inside this div we have another div with class name of flex, item center, spacex will be 3, px will be 6, py will be 2, width will be feet, rounded full, border 2, and border gray 300. Now inside this div we first have an icon. So we are going to use ci discount one icon, which is coming from the React icon library, and this icon have a class name of width 6, which is 1.5, height will be 6, text color will be yellow 300, and then we have a span where it says 30% discount first month purchase, and this span have a class name of text xs, which is extra small 12 pixel. Then in medium screen text will be large, and text color will be white, font will be semi bold, and text opacity will be 70. That's it. Now if I check, here you can see we have this box with that text, just like this one. Then we have our title. So after this div we have a h1, and this h1 we have the text of premium hosting technologies, and this h1 have a class name of text to excel, text 3 excel, which is 30 pixel. Then in medium we have text 4 excel, which is 36 pixel. Let me use 5 excel, which is 48 pixel. Then we have in large we have text of 55 pixel, and extra large text will be 65 pixel, and it will be a relative positioning. Z index will be 1, and in medium screen, so it will be Z1, and in medium screen we're going to use a leading of 4.5 RAM. Otherwise, in smaller devices, leading will be 3 RAM, and margin top will be 4, text color will be white, and font will be bold. Now let's check. So this is our heading, which looks very nice. Now here you can see we have a bar here. So after the H1, so here we have a break tag, and then we have a span, and the span have a class name of absolute, then bottom will be 4, z will be -1, minus rotate 6, left will be 0, width will be 1/2, which is 50%, h3, bg will be orange 400, bg opacity will be 70, and rounded will be full. So now if I save, now here you can see we have this bar which looks very nice, just like this one. So after this h1, we have a p tag. So here I am using another extension which is lorem ipsum. So let me show you. So I am using this extension to create a random text content for my website. So this is very useful. If you want to add some demo content in your website, you can just use this lorem ipsum. So this p have a class name of empty of 8, empty of 4, then we have text extra small, and then we have in medium text will be beige, text color will be white. Now let's check. So this is our description, which looks very nice here. Then we have another div with class name of empty of 8, flex, item center, SpaceX will be 4, and inside this div we are going to have 2 buttons. So I'm going to use our button component that we built earlier. Now you can see we just need to add this component here, and we do not need to repeat our button styling again and again. So for this button it is get started, and this button have a props which is background, And for the first one we have bg till 600, and we have another button which says lan and price, and its background color will be bg amber 600. Now let's check. So these are two buttons with the hover effect, which is exactly like this, and it's looking awesome right now. Next we have this image. So for this, inside this div I am going to use nextjs image component. So I'm going to import image, and here for the source we have slash images slash hero 1.svg, and then this image have a alt tag which is hero width of 650, height of 650, and it has a class name of object cover. And for the div we have a class name of, it will be hidden initially for smaller devices, and in large devices it will show as a block element, and its margin will be auto. So now let's check. So this is our image, which looks very nice. Now let me check the responsiveness. You can see now our navbar also looks very nice. Now if I check the responsiveness and select the mobile devices, you can see it looks very nice. In mobile devices we are hiding our images and everything works properly and all the content fit perfectly. And if I go to the iPad, in iPad it also looks very nice, and in the large devices you can see we have our image. So our hero section is completed. Next we are going to build the about us section. So let me show you the about us section. So this is the about us section where we have our section heading, then a image and some content. So to build this I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it about, and inside this folder I'm going to create a new file called about.tsx, and here I'm going to use the RAFC to create a component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home folder, and I'm going to import it and add this. Now here you can see we have our about. So for the first tip we have a class name of padding top of 20 and padding bottom of 16, and then inside this div I'm going to create another reusable component, helper component, which is section heading, so that we can add this section heading for our future section. So here we are going to have a section heading. So for this I'm going to create a new folder inside my new file inside my helper folder, and I'm going to name it section heading dot tsx, and I'm going to create the component boilerplate, and this section heading will receive some props. So it will receive a props which is heading of type string, and I'm going to add this prop inside this component, and I'm going to import the heading. Now inside this div we have a h1 with our heading. And then we have another h1. Here we have the subheading. If you want, you can create another props where you are sending your this secondary heading, but I'm for now hard coded it. Now for the styling, the first div have a class name of text center, and for this h1 we have a class name of text to excel. In smaller devices, text will be 3 excel. In medium, text will be 4 excel, and it will be in uppercase. Text color will be blue 950, and font will be semi-bold. And for this h1 we have a class name of width 11 by 12, so which is 91.66%, and in smaller device we have a width of 10 by 12, which is 83%, and in medium we have width of 3 by 5, that means 60%, and in large we have width of 2 by 4, which is 50%. Text will be small, and in medium text will be base, margin top will be 4, mx will be auto, text will be gray 800, and then text opacity will be 70, and font will be medium. Now if I save, and then I'm going to open my about section, and here I'm going to add our section heading, and it receives the props which is heading, and for the heading we're going to pass about us. Now if I save and check, you can see this is our about us section heading. So I can make it some more words. Now it's look nice. Next, after the section heading, we are going to define a grid system, because here we are going to divide it into two parts, one for this image and one for this content. So for this, here we have a div with a class name of width will be 4 by 5, which is 80%. Then mx will be auto. Then we have items of center, margin top will be 24, grid, then we have grid calls 1 for small devices, and in large we have grid calls of 2. So here we'll have a space, and here grid calls 2, and gap will be 12. Then inside this div we have image content first, and this is the div for image content, and next we have text content. So this div is for the text content. So for the first one, this div have a class name of mx auto. Then in large screen mx will be 0, and margin bottom will be 8, and in large screen margin bottom will be 0. Now inside this div we are going to use our nextjs image component, and for the source So here we have slash images slash about 2.png, and for the alt we are going to use something like about us. Then we are going to pass the width, which is 550, and height will be 550, and a class name of rounded lg, and minus rotate of 12. So if I save and check, so the image is not showing. Let me check. Slash images slash about 2 dot, so it will be jpg, so not png. Now here you can see we have our image, which looks very beautiful. Next we have our text content, so just like this one. For this, inside this div we have a h1, and for the content I am going to copy it from here and paste it, and this h1 have a class name of text to excel. In medium, text will be 3xl, text color will be hash 2d 3c 58. Then we have font of bold. Now let's check. So here you can see we have our title. Next, after this h1 we have a p with some random text, and then we have another p tag with some more random text, and for the both of this we have a class name of padding top of 4, text will be base, text color will be hash 5561 and 80, and text opacity will be 70. And for the first p we have a padding top of 8. So now if I save, you can see this looks nice. Let me copy some text from here and paste it here. So that looks nice, just like this one. Then we have this list type items. So for this, after p we have another div with class name of padding top of 8, flex, items will be center, and SpaceX will be 8. And inside this div we have another div with class name of width will be 16, height will be 16, rounded will be full, bg color will be gray 200, flex, then items will be center, justify center, and flex direction will be in column. And inside this div we have a image. So this, for this image I am going to use the nextjs image component, And for the source, we are having a slash images slash i1.svg. And for the alt, we are going to give this the name of icon. Width will be 40, height will be 40. And if I save, so here you can see we have this icon with this rounded background body. And after this div, we have another div, and here we have a h1 wave hosting, and then a p tag. And for this h1 we have a class name of text lg, and medium text will be extra large, and text color will be text gray 700, font will be bold. And for this p we have a class name of margin top of 1, text will be base, then we have text color will be hash 5561 and 80, and text opacity will be 70. Now if I save and check, so here you can see we have this title and little description text, which looks very nice. Now we have two more, so for this I'm going to just copy this one, so this is the div. So here I just give a comment fast item, then this one will be second item, and here the icon will be i2. Then we have for this one we have WordPress hosting, and this is the third one, so third item, and here will be i3, and it will be a VPS host. Now if I save and check, you can see it looks nice. Now let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, you can see we have our heading, our image, and our text content, which looks very nice and it fit perfectly with our screen sizes. Now if I select another type of mobile devices, it's also looking very nice. If I select iPad devices, here it also looks very nice. So our about us section is completed. Next we are going to build the hosting option section, where you can see we have four beautiful card, and this card have a very beautiful hover effect and very advanced hover effect. So you can see, so we are going to build this now. To build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it hosting options.tsx. Sorry, not the tsx, just hosting options. I'm going to remove this tsx part, and inside this I'm going to create a file called hosting options.tsx, and here I'm going to use a shortcut RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home component. So after the about, we are going to add our hosting options. So I'm going to add this. Now if I check, here you can see we have our hosting option text. Now for the hosting options, the first div have a class name of padding top of 20 and padding bottom of 16. And then inside this div, first we have our section heading. So section heading. So I'm going to import our section heading component, and here we are going to pass the heading, which is our hosting options. Now let's check. So you can see we have our section heading. Next we are going to define our grid system. So here we are going to divide our grid into 4 parts for 4 card. So here define grid system. So here we have a div with class name of width will be 85%. Then we have empty of 20. We are going to use a grid calls will be 1, and in medium grid calls will be 2, and in large grid calls will be 3, and in extra large grid calls will be 4. And we have mx of auto, and we have gap of 8. Now inside this div we are going to create a reusable card component. So we are going to create a hosting option card component which will be reusable. So for this I'm going to create a new file inside my hosting option, and I'm going to name it hosting option card.tss, and I'm going to use RAFCE to create the component boilerplate. And then here, so hosting option card 1, here we have a div, and inside this div we are going to add our hosting option card, and here we are going to pass some props for our option card. And the first one is the icon. We are going to pass an icon which is slash images slash i4.png, and we are going to pass a title. For this one we are going to have WordPress hosting, and we are going to pass a price which is 2.99, and we have 4 cards. So I'm going to copy this 3 more time. So these are second card which will be, so it is i4, then we have i5.png, and here we have wave hosting, and it will be something like 399. Then we have i6.png, and here we are going to have the title VPS hosting for like 499. Then this is will be i7, and let's name it shared hosting, and let's say it will be 199. And this one will be card 2, this one will be card 3, and this one will be card 4. Now we have to receive these props and give them a proper TypeScript typing. That's why it's complaining now. So for this I'm going to open my hosting option card, and here I'm going to create a props, and here we're receiving a icon which is type of string, then we are receiving a title which is type of string, and then we're receiving a price which is type of string. And now here I am going to provide our props, and I'm going to import the icon, price, and title. So that's it. Now to build this advanced hover effect, we are going to use a npm package. So the npm package we are going to use is react tilt parallax. So react parallax tilt. We are going to use this package to build this awesome hover animation. So here you can see they have demo and they have the documentation. You can learn more about this by reading this documentation. So for now I am going to copy this and I'm going to install it in our project. Then we have to import it. So I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to paste it here. You can see it's installed successfully. Then we are going to convert this div into a tilt, and here we are going to pass a class name of parallax effect and then a perspective of 500, and then inside this we are going to have a div with class name of bg gray 200, rounded will be lg, height will be full, padding will be 6, and width will be full. And then inside this div, and one thing that is we have to convert this into a client component. So I'm going to use client directive to convert this into a client component. Now inside this div we have our image icon. So here we have a div, and here I'm going to use our nextjs image component, and for the source we are going to use our icon which is coming from our props. Then for the alt we are going to use the title. Then we have a width of 80, height of 80, and we have a class name of mx auto. Margin top will be 8 and margin bottom will be 8. Now let's check. So here you can see we have the box with this beautiful hover animation. You can see how easy it is. We just add a package and then we are just adding a tilt component, and that's it. That's how we are going to add a very premium hover effect in our website. So after the image we have a h1 with our title, and this h1 have a class name of text center. Text color will be hash 232 c45. Then font will be semi bold, and we are going to use the capitalize, and text will be extra large. So this is our heading. After the heading we have a p tag. So here you can see we have a p tag with this text. So I'm going to copy this, the demo text, and I'm going to paste it here, and this p tag have a class name of text center. Then we have text color of black, text opacity will be 70, margin top will be 4, margin bottom will be 4, and let's check. So this looks very nice. So after this p1 we have another p tag, and it says starting from, and here a dollar sign, and then we are going to add our price, and here we have slash month, and this p tag have a class name of text hash 232 C45, and then it will be a font of semi bold, text will be base, and text will be center. That's it. Now let's check this one. So here you can see we have this starting from the price, just like this one. Next we have, after this p, we have a button, and inside this button we have a span of C plan, and then we have a icon which is bi arrow to right, and this icon is coming from the React icon library. Now for the button we have a class name of px6 py of 2, font will be semi bold, then we have text of blue 950, in hover we are going to have bg blue 700, then we have transition all, duration will be 200 millisecond, mx will be auto, border will be 1.2 pixel, border color will be border gray 400, border opacity will be 25, margin top will be 8, it will be a flex, items will be center, spacex will be 2, and rounded LG. Now if I hit save and check, you can see here we have our beautiful button, but its text color is not changing. So in hover the text color will also change. So hover we have text of white. Now if I save and check, now it looks very nice. So now our hover also work properly. We have this beautiful advanced hover effect, and let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and if I select mobile devices, here you can see we have our card which is fit very nicely with our screen size, which looks very nice. If I select another mobile devices, you can see here it also looks very nice and fit perfectly. And if I select iPad, here you can see we have two cards which looks very nice. So our hosting option section is completed. Next, we are going to build the domain search section. So let me show you the domain search section. So this is our domain search section where we have a heading, a input box, and a compare of different types of domain. So to build it, I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I am going to name it domain search. And inside this folder, I am going to create a new file called domain search.tss. And here I am going to use the RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home folder, home component. So here I am going to add our domain search. Now if I show you, so here you can see we have the domain search text. Now go to your domain search component, and for the first div we have a class name of pt of 12. Then in medium screen we have a padding top of 20 and padding bottom will be 16. Then inside this div we have another div with class name of, so here we have a class name of width of 90%, padding will be p6, then we have rounded to excel, bg will be blue 700, and mx will be auto. So here you can see we have the box with the background color. Then inside this div we have our heading, so heading h1, and it says, so for the content, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So this h1 have a class name of text center, then we have margin top will be 8, text color will be white, font will be semi bold, then text will be extra large, smaller text will be twice XL, then in large text will be 3XL, and in extra large text will be 4XL. And tracking will be wider, and if I save, you can see we have our heading here. Next we have this search box. So after the h1 we have our search box. So for this we have a div with class name of relative flex, items will be center, width will be 11/12. So if I hover over, you can see it's 91%, and in medium width will be 10/12, in large width will be 9/12, mx will be auto, margin top will be 12, rounded will be full, and height will be 12, in medium height will be 16, and background will be white. If I save, you can see here we have a beautiful box. Then inside this div we have our inputs, so it is search input, and then inside this we have a input of type text, and the placeholder will be register a domain name, and this input have a class name of width 4/5, height will be full, bg will be transparent, px will be 8, outline will be none. Now if I save, here you can see we have our search input. Then we have the button. So after the input we have button. So here we have a button and it will be search domain, and this button have a class name of absolute, and it is hidden in extra small devices, and in small devices it will be a block, right will be 4, height will be 4 by 5, which is 80%, font will be semi-bold, then in hover it will be busy rows 700, then we have transition of all, and duration will be 300 millisecond, width will be 40%, and in large devices width will be 20%, bg will be blue 900, text will be white, text will be extra small, and in smaller devices text will be small, and in medium text will be base, and rounded will be full. Now if I save and let's check, so this is our button which looks very beautiful. Then we have this list. So after this search box div we have a compare list. So here we have a div with class name of width will be 11 by 12, in md width will be 9 by 12, margin top will be 8, margin bottom will be 4, it will be a grid, mx will be auto, items center, grid calls will be 2, and in medium screen grid calls will be 3, and in large grid calls will be 4. In large grid calls will be 5. Then we have gap of 4, and in large gap will be 12. That's it. Then we have a p tag inside this div which says compare, and this p have a class name of text will be white, then font will be semi bold, text small, and in medium text will be large. So now let's check. So this is the compare text. After the p tag we have a div, and this div have a class name of text white, and inside this div we have a span for .com, and then we have another span for the price. So here let's say it's 6.19. Now for the first span have a class name of text base, and in medium screen text will be extra large, text color will be yellow 400, and then we have font of bold, and we are going to use the underline. And for this price span we have a class name of font of bold, and text will be base. Now if I save and check, here you can see we have our .com and the price, but they are stick together. So I'm going to give a space in our price. Now it looks okay. Next we have this three more. So for this I am going to copy this div three more times. So the first one is .com, then we have .net. Let's change the price here. So after the .net we have .info. So this will be .info, and let's say its price is 219. Then we have .org, and it will be for like 3. Now if I save, now you can see it looks very nice, similar to this one. Now let's check if it is responsive or not. So if I inspect and if I select a mobile devices, and here you can see it fit perfectly in our mobile devices, and in mobile devices we hide our button. And if I select iPad devices, here you can see it's also fit very nicely in iPad. So our domain search section is completed. Next we are going to build this hosting solution section where we have this text, and here we have this beautiful slider. So here you can see we have this awesome slider. So we are going to build this now. So to build this I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it feature, and inside this folder I am going to create a file called feature.tsx, and here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home. Here I'm going to add our feature just like that. And now if I show you, here you can see we have our feature text. Next, for the first div we have a class name of pt of 16 and pb of 12. Then inside this div we have our section heading. So here I am going to use our section heading component, and here we are going to add our heading, which is our hosting solution. And if I save, you can see we have our heading. Next we are going to define a grid system, and here we have a div with class name of width 4x5, mx will be auto, margin top will be 12, in medium margin top will be 20, items will be center. We're going to use grid calls of 1 for smaller devices, and in extra large grid calls will be 2, and gap will be 12. Now inside this div we have two parts. So if I show you, here you can see we have this text content, and then we have this slider. So here we have first text content. So this div is for the text content, and then we have a slider. So this div is for the slider. So let's first work on the text content. So inside this div we have h1. Here we say we provide hosting solution, and this h1 have a class name of text to excel. Then we have in medium text will be 3xl, in large text will be 4xl, text color will be blue 950, then it will be a font of bold, and tracking will be wider. So if I save, so this is our heading. Then after the h1 we have a p. So here we have this demo text. I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here, and this p have a class name of margin top of 8, margin bottom of 4, text color will be black, then text will be sm, in medium text will be 4, text will be base, then we have font of normal, and we have opacity of 70. Now if I save, here you can see we have our text. Then I'm going to copy this one and paste it, and here we have a margin top of 4. So if I save, you can see now we have 2 paragraphs, so which looks nice. Then we have this slider. So for this I'm going to create a reusable component here, new component here. So inside this div I am going to create a sweeper slider component. So inside the feature I am going to create a new folder called sweeper slider.tsx, and here I am going to use rafc to create the component boilerplate. And then here inside this div I am going to add our sweeper slider. So now if I show you, here you can see we have the text sweeper slider. So to build this advanced slider we are going to use a npm package which is sweeper.js. So I'm going to search for react sweeper, and here you can see they have the sweeper demos. Here you can see they have different types of demos here which you can use. So this is the demo, and they have a lot of demos here to use. So I'm going to open their docs and sweeper react, and then I'm going to install this package. So npm I sweeper, and I'm going to paste it here and run it. It will install the sweeper.js in our project, and then I am going to import this sweeper and sweeper slider. So I'm going to copy these, and then here I'm going to paste it. Next I'm going to import this CSS. So I'm going to copy it and then paste it here, and then I need to import 2 extra CSS for the slider that we are going to build. So for this I'm going to import sweeper slash CSS slash effect cards. So sweeper slash CSS slash effect dash cards. and then I am going to import something from sweeper slash modules, and I'm going to import effect cards. And now here I'm going to return a sweeper component. So sweeper component, and here we are going to pass some props. First one is effect, which will be cards. Then we have grab cursor to true, and then we have modules, which will be effect cards, and then it have a class name of width 280 pixel, height will be 380 pixel, and in medium width will be 500 pixel, and in medium height will be 380 pixel, and padding will be 8. Then inside this, so one thing that is we have to convert this component into a client component. So I'm going to use client, and now inside this sweeper we have a sweeper slide, and here we have our content. So the sweeper slide have a class name of sweeper slider. This is a custom class, and we are going to build this. We are going to build this class in our global CSS. Next, so in sweeper slider, so we have this custom class. We have to make it in our global.css, and then for the first one we have a background color of hash CE1111. So right now if I say, so here you can see we just have a box. So next I am going to create this sweeper slider class. So in our global CSS, first open your global.css, and then here we are going to add dot sweeper, then we are have slider, and here we are going to apply. So we are going to apply text black, sorry, here we are going to apply flex, items will be center, rounded to XL, then font will be bold, text to XL, and text color will be white, and padding will be 4. Now if I say, here you can see we have this content here. Now let's go to your sweeper slider, and inside this sweeper slider we are going to use another component, which is feature card. So for this I am going to create a new component here, which is feature card.tsx. So in feature card we are going to create this card. So here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I am going to add it here. So here we have feature card, and this feature card will receive some props. So first it will be receiving a prop which is /images /i1.svg. Then the title will be web hosting, and now I'm going to copy this 8 more time. So the next one will be I2, and then we have shared hosting, then we have i3.svg, which is bps hosting. So bps hosting, then we have i4.png, so this will be png, and here the title will be WordPress hosting. Then we have i5.png, and it will be cloud. So it will be cloud hosting. Then we have i6.svg, and the title will be reseller hosting. Then we have i7 dot so i6.png, so it is a png file, and i7 will also be a png file, and it will be email hosting. Then we have i8.svg, and it is e-commerce hosting, and we do not need this one. And now I'm going to change the background color. So first one will be red, then the second one will be #00233F, then we have #027143, then the fourth one will be #844F09, then the fifth one will be #374E01, then the sixth one will be B40A2F, and then we have 08AB9D, and finally we have 780478. So now if I save, here you can see we have our slider working perfectly. We have this different type of background color, and our slider is looking very nice. Next we have to receive these props in our feature card and build a feature card content. So for this, in the feature card I am going to use a type props, and here I am receiving an image of type string, and then a title of type string, and now I am going to pass it here. I'm going to import the image and title. So inside this div we'll have another div with class name of w20, h20, mx will be auto. Then we have background of white, rounded full, empty will be 8, mb will be 6, flex, item center, justify center, and flex will be in the column direction. Then inside this div we have a nextjs image component, and here the source will be our image props. Alt, I'm going to use the title as our alt, and width will be 50 and height will be 50. Now if I save, here you can see we have our icons. Then after this div we have a h1 with the title, and this h1 have a class name of text center. Then text color will be white, font bold, tracking width, and text will be 2x. So here you can see we have our title here. Next we have a p tag, and here we have some random text. So this p tag have a class name of empty4, text will be white, text opacity will be 75, text will be small, and text center. Now if I save, here you can see something is wrong. So text will be small. So now it looks nice, just like this one. Then after this we have a button with view details, and this button have a class name of text base block. In hover it will be bg yellow 300, transition all, duration will be 150 millisecond, margin top will be 6, mx will be auto uppercase. Then we have text of black, px will be 8, py will be 2, rounded full, font semi bold, and cursor will be pointer. So if I say, here you can see we have our button, but it did not look like this one. So here we also have a bg white. So bg white. Now it looks very nice. Now our slider is also working properly, where you can slide using your mouse, or in mobile devices you can slide through touch the screen. So this looks very nice. Now let me show you the responsiveness. So if I inspect and select a mobile devices, you can see here we have section heading or text content, and you can see in mobile devices the slider also looks very nice. So if I select a different types of screen sizes. You can see here it also looks very nice, very premium. And if I select like iPad mini, here you can see it also looks very nice and our slider works properly. So our feature section is completed. Next, we are going to build the pricing section. So if I show you the pricing section, here you can see we have 3 price card with hover effect. Then here we have a button to get started. So to build this, I'm going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it price. And inside this folder, I'm going to create a new file called price.tsx. And here I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home component. So here I'm going to add my price. So now if I show you, here you can see we have the price text. Next, in the price, for the first div we have a class name of padding top of 20 and padding bottom of 16. And then inside this div we have our section heading, and here I'm going to use section heading component from our helper folder. And here for the heading we are going to pass our pricing. Now if I save and show you, you can see here we have our pricing. Next we are going to define the grid system. So define grid system, because we are going to divide the space into 3 parts for our 3 card. So this div have a class name of width 4/5, then we have mx of auto, margin top of 20, and we are going to grid calls will be 1 in small devices, and in large the grid call will be 2, and in extra large the grid calls will be 3. Then we have gap of 12, and items will be center. Then inside this div I am going to create a price card component, so which we are going to reuse here. So inside this div we are going to use a price card reusable component. So for this I am going to create a new component inside my price folder, and I am going to name it price card.tsx. And here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here I am going to add our price card. Now we are going to pass some props inside our price card. So first one we are going to pass is an image. So slash images slash it will be p1.png, and we are going to pass a plan. So for this one it will be a basic plan, and then we are going to pass a price. So for this one we will be $9.99. Now we have to receive these props in our price card component and then give them a proper TypeScript type definition. So for this I'm going to open my price card, and here I'm going to create a props type, and here we are receiving an image of type string. Then we are receiving a plan of type string. Then we are receiving a price, which is also a type of string. Now we are going to pass this props inside our price card component, and then here I am going to import the image, the plan, and then the price. Now here for the first tip we have a class name of, so here we have a class name of bg hash e3f0ff, and then in hover it will be increase in size. So here I am going to use a scale of 110. Then we are going to use some transition using transition all. Duration will be 500 millisecond, and rounded will be LG, and padding will be 4, and in medium and higher screen padding will be 10. Now if I save Here you can see we have our first card with the background and hover effect. So now here we have our image icon. So here we have our image icon. So for this I'm going to use nextjs image component, and here for the source we are going to use our image props that we are receiving, and for the alt we are going to use our plan, and then we have a width of 50 and then a height of 50, and also we have a class name of margin top of 8 and margin bottom of 8. Now if I save, here you can see we have this beautiful icon. Next, after the image we have a h1 with the plan, and then we have a p tag with the text of added privacy and security features. Now for the h1 we have a class name of text to excel, font will be bold, tracking will be wider, and text color will be text blue 950. And for the p tag we have a class name of margin top of 2, text will be black, text opacity will be 60, text size will be base, font will be medium. Now if I save, here you can see we have this title basic and this added privacy and security feature. Next we have this bar here. So to build this bar, so here we have the bar. I'm going to create a self-closing div, and here we have a class name of margin top of 8, margin bottom of 8, height will be 1.5 pixel, then we have opacity of 20, rounded will be LG, then we have BG gray of 500, then we have margin of auto. Now if I save, here you can see we have this bar which looks very beautiful. Then after this div we have another div, and inside this div we have another div, and here we have a icon which is fa check, which is coming from the React icon, and then we have a p with the text free domain, and then here we have a dollar sign, and then we have our price that we are receiving, and then we have value. Now for this div we have a class name of flex, items will be center, margin bottom will be 8, and SpaceX will be 2. And for the icon we have a class name of text green 600, and for the p we have a class name of text base, font will be bold, then we have text color will be text blue 950. Now if I save, here you can see this looks very nice. We have 3 more, so I am just going to copy this div 3 more time, and for the second one we have the text of regular security patching, Then for the third one, we have http/2 enabled servers. Then for the last one, we have free object cache pro. Now if I check, you can see here we have the 4 list, which looks very beautiful. Then we have this get started button. So for this, after this div, so here we can give a comment like list, and then after this div we are going to use our button component, which is coming from our helper, and here we have get started, and here I'm going to pass a background of bg rows 600. Now if I save, here you can see we have our button, which looks very nice. Now we need 2 more card, and it's easy for us. Now we just need to add our price card component. So this one will be our second card, and this one will be our third card. And for the second one, we have p2.png, and third one we have p3.png, and here it will be standard, and price will be 29.99, and this one will be premium, and this one will be 59.99. Now if I save, and here you can see we have our 3 card with 3 different icon. We have basic, standard, and premium. Here you can see the price will be 9.99, this will be 29, and this will be 59, and here we have our get started button. And now let me show you the responsiveness of this component. So if I select a mobile devices, you can see the content fit perfectly with the screen size. And if I select different types of mobile devices, you can see it fit perfectly. And if I select a iPad mini, it also looks very nice in the iPad devices. So our price component is complete. Next we are going to build the client review section. Here you can see we have a beautiful slider for our client review, where you can slide left or right, and this slider has the auto sliding feature. So if I wait some times, you will see it will slide automatically. So now we are going to build this component. So for this I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I am going to name it client. I am going to name it client review. And inside this I am going to create a file called review.tsx, and I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this inside my home component. So here I'm going to add my review. Now if I save, here you can see we have our review text. Now inside this review component, for the first div, we have a class name of padding top of 20, padding bottom of 16, and then inside this div we have our section heading. So here we have our section heading. So for this I am going to import my section heading component from the helper folder, and I am going to pass the heading, and here I am going to pass our client review. Now if I save, and here you can see we have our section heading. Now here we have another div with class name of width 4 by 5, margin top of 16, and we have mx of auto. And now inside this div I am going to create another component which will be a review slider. So I am using this component so that we can manage our client review component very easily. So for this I am going to create a new file here, and I am going to name it review slider.tsx, and here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I am going to add this here. So here we are going to use our review slider. Now if I show you that, you can see we have this review slider text. Now for this slider you can use the sweeper.js that we are used previously to build this, but I'm going to show you another npm package for sliding, which is react multi carousel. So I'm going to use react multi carousel, and if I open their npm package, here you can see they have demo, they have the documentation, so you can learn more about these packages here. But for now we need to install this, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here and hit enter. And then first we need to import this carousel and this css. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Then we need this breakpoint, so responsive variable. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it here. Now here I'm going to change some value. So here for the mean I'm going to use this value, and the item will be 3 and slides to slide will be 1. So you want to slide one item. And then for the tablet, here we are going to use 1324 and the mean will be 764, and the items will be 2 and slides to slide will be 1, and here it will be 764 and mean will be 0, item will be 1, and slides to slide will be 1. So that's it. Now here instead of this div we are going to use carousel, and here for now I'm going to declare a div so that it does not complain. And here we have to pass some props. So first one is additional transform, it will be 0, then the arrows will be true, then autoplay will be true, autoplay speed will be 5000 milliseconds, which means 5 seconds, center mode will be false, then we have infinite, then for the responsive we are going to pass our responsive variable, and then we have item class is equal to item. And one thing that is we have to make this a client component. So for this I'm going to use client to convert this into a client component. Now here I'm going to create another reusable component which is review card. So for this I'm going to create another component in my client review which is review card.css, and here I'm going to use RFC to create the component boilerplate, and then here I'm going to add our review card. So review card just like this. Now if I show you, here you can see we have our review card text, and this review card will have some props. So first one, we're going to pass an image which is /images/c1.png, and we're going to pass a name. So for this one, we're going to pass my name, and we have 4 of these review cards, so I'm going to copy it 3 more time, and the second one will be c2, c3, and c4, and I'm going to change the name here. You can give any name you want. Now we have to receive the props in our review card, so I'm going to open the review card, and here we're going to use type props, and here we are receiving an image of type string, and then we are receiving a name. It is name or title, so it's name. We are receiving a name of type string. Now we have to pass this here, and we are going to import our image and the name. Now for the review card, the first div have a class name of p6 m4, and background will be hash 0449BA, and then if I show you, here you can see we have our slider working, and we have our card with background color. Next, inside this div, first we have our rating. So for this, here we have a div with class name of flex. Items will be center, basics will be 2, and margin top will be 4. And here inside this div we have a icon which is fa star, coming from the React icon library, and this icon have a class name of width 4, height 4, and text color will be yellow 500, and we have 5. And now if I save, here you can see we have our rating star. So just like this one. Then we have a p tag for our review text. So here we have a p, and I'm going to use the lorem ipsum to generate some random text, and this p have a class name of margin top will be 4, text color will be white, then we have text opacity of 70. Now if I save, you can see we have our review text. Let me increase it some more. So it looks nice. Then we have our profile for the client. So after the p we have client profile. So for this one we have a div, and this div have a class name of flex. Margin top will be 8, items will be center, spaces will be 4, and then inside this div we have another div, and here we have our image component, So I'm going to use the next image, and this image have a source of the image cross that we are receiving, and then we have a alt. For the alt I'm going to use the name, then we have width of 60 and height of 60. Now if I say, you can see here we have our client profile image. Then after this div we have another div with the h1 of the name, and then a p tag with the position. For this one I'm going to CEO WDW WebDev warrior. So for the h1 we have a class name of text LG, so which is 18 pixel. Then we have text of white, and we have uppercase. And next for the p tag we have a class name of margin top of 0.3 ram. Then we have text of 15 pixel, text color will be white, and opacity will be 70. Now if we check, so first we have to save this, and now if I check, here you can see we have our profile completed, and here we have our slider works properly. Now if I show you the responsiveness, and if I select a mobile devices, you can see it looks very nice in the mobile devices, and the slider also works perfectly. And if I select a iPad mini, here you can see we have two sliders, and our sliding is also works perfectly. So our client review section is completed. Next we are going to build the block section. So if I show you the block section, here you can see we have three block posts here, and here we have a simple hover effect. So to build this I'm going to create another new folder inside my home folder, and I'm going to name it block, and inside this I'm going to create a new file called block.tsx, and here I'm going to use the RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in my home component. So after the review we are going to add our block. Now if I save, you can see here we have our block text. Next, for the block, the first div have a class name of padding top of 20, padding bottom of 16, and then inside this div we first have our section heading. So we have section heading, and here I am going to import my section heading component from the helper folder, and here we are going to add our heading, which will be our block. If I save, here you can see we have our section heading. Next we are going to define a grid system, because we are going to use 3 card, and we are going to divide our space in 3 parts. Define grid system. So here we have a div with a class name of width 4 by 5, which is 80%, margin top of 12, and in medium screen margin top will be 16. We're going to use grid calls will be 1, and in large screen the grid calls will be 2. Then we have in extra large the grid calls will be 3, and gap will be 12, and mx will be auto. Now inside this div we are going to create a reusable component, so which is block cut component. So here we are going to use a block cut component. So block cut. Now I'm going to create a new component inside my block folder, which is block card.tsx, and here I'm going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate. And now here I am going to add my block cut component. So this will be the first block cut. So I'm going to use a comment of first block cut, and here we have our block cut. So block cut. Now we are going to pass some props in our block cut. So first prop we are going to pass is image. So for the first one we have an image of slash images slash b1 dot png. Then we are going to pass a title. So for this one I am going to use 10 reasons to use good web hosting. So I'm going to use this as a title. Then we are going to pass a date, and here I'm going to pass 4 May 2024. Then we are going to pass username. For this one I'm going to pass my name, and then we are going to pass a user role, which is web developer. Then we are going to pass a user image, which is slash images slash c1.png. So now if I save, here you can see we are passing this date, this title, this image, this username, and this user role. So now we have to receive our props in our block card and give them a proper type definition. So for this, in the block card I'm going to use a type props, and here we are receiving a image which is type of string. Then we are receiving a title of type string. Then we have a date of type string. Then we are receiving username, which is also a type of string. User image of type string. Then we are receiving a user role, which is type of string. Now we are going to pass this inside our block card. So here I'm going to pass our props, and I'm going to import the date, the image, the title, username, user role, and then username. So here user image, user role, and username. Now for the first div of the block card, have a class name of bggray 100, shadow of md, shadow gray of 300, rounded will be md, overflow will be hidden. Now inside this div we have our image. So here first have a div with class name of with full, and then inside this div we have image which is coming from next image, and here we have the source which is coming from our props, that is image. The alt, I'm going to use the title as our alt text. So title, then width will be 400, height will be 400, and it has a class name of width full and height of full. Now if I save, here you can see we have our image which looks very nice. So after the image div we have another div with class name of p6. So this is our content. Now inside this div we have a h1 with the text web hosting. So here we have another div, and inside this div we have this h1. So inside this div we have a h1, and this div have a class name of flex. Items will be center, and SpaceX will be 4. And this h1 have a class name of text small, font will be semi bold, text color will be black, text opacity will be 70. Then after this h1 we have a div with a class name of flex. Items will be center, SpaceX will be 2. Then inside this div we have an icon which is by calendar icon, and then we have a span with our date. Now this icon have a class name of text blue 950, and this pen have a class name of text small, font will be semi bold, text color will be black, text opacity will be 70. Now if I save, here you can see we have our text web hosting, and then we have our date. Next we have our title. So after this tip we have our title. So here we have a h1 with our title, and if h1 have a class name of margin top will be 4, text will be LG, in medium text will be Excel, in hover text will be blue 600, transition will be all, duration 200, cursor will be pointer, then text blue 950, capitalize, then we are going to use the font of bold, then tracking will be wither, and that's it. Now if I save, you can see here we have our beautiful title. Next we have our blog writer user. So here we have a div with the class name of margin top will be 6, margin bottom will be 6, height will be no, here we have a divider. So this is a divider which is a self-closing div. So this is a divider. So here height will be 1.3 pixel, width will be full, bg will be gray 600, opacity will be 20. Now if I say, here you can see we have our divider. Then we have our blog writer user profile. So here we have a div with a class name of flex, items will be center, SpaceX will be 4, and then inside this div we have an image which is coming from next image, and here we have our source which is user image coming as our props. Then we have an alt tag. Here I am going to use our user, so username. Then we have width of 40, height of 40, and if I save, here you can see we have our user image. Next, after the image, we have another div, and here we have a h1 with our username, and we have a p tag with user role. This h1 have a class name of text lg. Text color will be blue 950. Font will be bold, and this p tag have a class name of text base, text black. Font will be medium. Text opacity will be 80. Now if I save and check, so here you can see we have our web developer text, which looks very nice. We have two more of card, so that is easy for now to build. We just need to go to the block section, and this is the first card, and I am going to copy it 2 times. And for the this is the second block card. We are going to change some of our props. So here it will be b2, then let's say it will be 12 reason, then that date will be 5, then let's say it will be John, then nextjs developer, then this will be c2, and this is the third block card, and let's say it will be b3, and it will be 7 reason, the date will be 10, name will be Jack, let's say React developer, and it will be c3. Now if I save, here you can see we have our 3 block card, which looks very nice. Now let me show you the responsiveness of this section. So if I select mobile devices, here you can see in mobile devices it fit perfectly. If I select another type of mobile devices, you can see it fit perfectly, and in mobile devices we have one card. Now if I select a iPad mini, you can see here it also looks very nice. So our block section is completed. Next we are going to build the footer section. So here you can see this is our footer section where we have a logo, some text, the payment method image, and we have some footer links. So to build this, I am going to create a new folder inside my home folder, and I am going to name it footer, and inside this folder I am going to create a new file called footer.tsx, and here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I am going to add this inside my layout folder. So after the children, so first we have responsive nav, then we have children, and then we are going to add our footer. So now if I save, here you can see we have our footer text. Now inside the footer component, the first div have a class name of padding top of 12, padding bottom of 12. So pb12 means 3 RAM. Then inside this we are going to define our grid system. Because we are going to divide our space in 4 parts. So here we have a div with a class name of width will be 4 by 5 means 80%. mx will be auto. Then we have a grid calls will be 1. Then we have border bottom of 1.5 pixel, and border bottom color will be slate 300. Then we have padding bottom of 8, and in medium we are going to use a grid calls of 2. Then in large screen we are going to use grid calls of 3, and finally in extra large we are going to use the grid calls of 4. And then we are going to use a gap of 8, and items will be in start. So next in this tip we have the first part of the footer, first footer part. So here we have a div. So here we have a div with class name of, in large screen mx will be auto and mx will be 0 otherwise. And here we are going to add our logo. So for this I'm going to copy the logo from our nav. So this is our logo. I'm going to copy this, and then in the footer I'm going to paste it here. Now here we're going to change some styling. So first this text will be black, and then we are going to make it text rate 600. Now if I save, here you can see we have our logo. So after this div we have a p with some random text. So I'm going to use lorem ipsum to generate some random text, and this p have a class name of text gray 700. Text will be small and margin top will be 2. Now if I save, here you can see we have some text here which looks very nice. Next we have this payment method. So after this p tag we have another p with the text payment method payment. Then we have method. So this p have a class name of margin top will be 4, text will be lg. Then we have text of black, text opacity will be 65, margin bottom will be 4, and font will be bold. Now if I save, so here we have this payment method text, and here you can see we have the border that we added previously. So then after the p tag we are going to use the nextjs image component. So here we are going to use the source will be slash images slash pay dot svg, and alt will be pay, width will be 300, and height will be 300. Now if I save, so somehow it's not working. Let's see our images. So it will be pay.png. So png. Now if I save, now you can see we have our image. Next we have the second part of the footer. So after this div we have second footer part. So here we have a div with a class name of, in medium screen it will be mx of auto, otherwise mx will be 0. Then inside this we have h1 with company, and this h1 have a class name of footer title. So this is a custom class that we are going to create, and then we have a p tag with about us, and this p tag also have a custom class name which is footer link. Now I am going to create these two custom classes, and we are going to create it in our global.css. So here in the global.css we are going to add a dot footer title, and here we are going to apply some Tailwind classes so that we do not need to repeat the same styling for our next footer title. So here I am going to apply text of LG, text color will be black, font will be semi bold, in margin bottom will be 6, and for the footer link, so I'm going to use footer link, and here we're going to apply text will be black, then we have opacity of 80, then we have font of medium, margin bottom will be 4, text will be small, cursor will be pointer, so text will be base, cursor will be pointer, and in hover text will be blue 600. Now if I say, here you can see we have our title and then we have our link, footer link. So now go to the footer, and then we have more of this nav link. So I am going to copy this p tag 4 times. So after the about us we have news feed, then after the news feed we have contact, then we have affiliate, and then we have our technology. So here we have our technology. So this is our second part. So here you can see we have our footer links. Next we have this section, feature section. So I am going to copy this, and now this will be the third part. Then here we have feature for the title. The title will be feature. Then for the first link we have domain checker, then we have domain checker, then we have domain transfer, then we have domain registration, then we have data center, then we have support. So now if I say, so here we have some ending div which is missing. So now if I say, so here you can see we have this part completed, which is feature nav links. Then we have this hosting, so which is similar, so I'm going to copy it again. So this will be the fourth footer part, and this one will be hosting, and the first link will be shared hosting. Then we have WordPress hosting. Then we have VPF hosting. Then we have reseller hosting, and then we have cloud hosting. Cloud hosting. So now if I say, you can see this looks very nice. Finally, we have this copyright text. So I'm going to copy this text from here, and then so after this div we are going to add a copyright text. So here we have a div. The text content will be this one, and the class name will be text center. Margin top will be 4. Text will be small. Text color will be black. Opacity will be 75, and that's it. Now if I save, here you can see we have our copyright text. Now if I show you the responsiveness, I'm going to inspect, and I'm going to select mobile devices, and here you can see the footer fit perfectly with our screen sizes. Now if I select another mobile devices, you can see it also looks very nice. So it fit perfectly in the mobile devices. Now if I check on the iPad devices, so here you can see we have a problem. This is, so for this, for the third one it will be LG. Now if I say, now it looks very nice. So in iPad devices it also fit perfectly with the screen sizes. So our footer section is completed. Next we are going to build the scroll to top feature. So here you can see we have a button, and if I click here it will bring us to the top, and you can see initially it's hidden, but if I start scrolling you will see it appear in the screen, and if I click here it will go to the top. So now we are going to build this feature. So for this I am going to create a new file inside the helper folder, and I am going to name it scroll to top.tss, and here I am going to use RAFC to create the component boilerplate, and then I'm going to add this in our layout component. So after the footer we are going to add our scroll to top component so that it is available for all the pages that we created in this project. So now you can see here we have that scroll to top. Now first, here we are going to use state and use effect hooks. That's why I'm going to convert it into a client component. So use client. Then here first I'm going to create a state variable which is visible, and set is visible, and I'm going to use the use state, and here so it will be inside this. So here initially it will be false. Now here we are going to create a use effect. So use effect, and here we are going to add this, and inside this use effect we are going to create a function called toggle visibility, which will be an arrow function, and here we are going to check if window dot scroll y is greater than 300, then we are going to set our is variable to true, and I'm going to copy this, and if it is less than 300 pixel, then we are going to set is visible to false. So this is our toggle visibility function. Now here we are going to call this into window dot add event listener, and when we are going to use a scroll event, so in the scroll we are going to call this toggle visibility function. So just like this. And now here I am going to clean up this function. So when we add a early event listener inside the use effect, it is a good practice to clean up the function using the remove event listener. So here I am going to return a cleanup function. Here I am going to copy this one and paste it, and add event listener I am going to use remove event listener, just like this one. Now I'm going to save this. So that's it, that's our toggle visibility functionality. Then we are going to create another function which is scroll to top. This function is responsible for going to the top, so it will be an arrow function, and here I am going to use window dot scroll to, and here we are going to pass some parameters. One is top 0, so we are going to the top, and the behavior we want here is smooth behavior. So that's it, that's our scroll to top function. Now we are going to design our component. So first div we have a class name of fixed, then we have bottom of 4, then animate pulse. We are going to use a Tailwind CSS custom animation, and we are going to use right 4. Then inside this we are going to use our is visible variable. So if it is visible, state is true, then we are going to add a button, and the button here will have a class name of, so class name bt blue 700, then we have text of white, rounded will be full, width will be 12, height will be 12, flex, items will be center, and in focus outline will be none. And now inside this button we are going to have a fa arrow up, so we are going to use a up arrow inside the button. Now if I save, and this is our button. Now inside this button when we click, so we are going to use on click, and when we click the button we are going to call our scroll to top function to go to the top. So here we have a typing mistake, so it will be fixed, and here we also have a justify of center. Now if I save, now here you can see we have this button, and if I scroll you see it's hidden initially, and if I scroll it will be shown, and if I click here it will go to the top. So let me show you again. If I scroll it will go to the top with a smooth scrolling. So our scroll to top functionality is working properly. Now we are going to add some animation in our project for more user attraction. So if I show you the animation, you can see if I refresh here, the hero section we have a beautiful animation, and when we scroll you can see here we have scroll animations. In the hosting option card we also have scroll animation. Here we have scroll animation. Here also we have scroll animation. So we have some scroll animation happening in our project. We are going to build this now. To build this, I am going to use a npm package which is called AOS, which means animation on scroll. So if I go to their GitHub pages, you can see they have different types of animation like fade up, fade right, fade down, fade left, and they have a lot of animation that you can use. And it is very easy to use. You just need to add this data dash AOS in your div or the component that you want to animate in the scroll. So you can learn more about by go to their GitHub pages. Here they have the documentation which you can read and learn more about these packages. Now I am going to install this in our project. So for this I am going to copy this npm script. So I am going to copy this and I am going to paste it here to install, and we are going to set up our AOS in our home.tsx. And for this, here we need to convert this into a use client, because here we are going to use AOS. Now it's installed successfully. Now we have to import these two, so AOS and a CSS file for this AOS. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Now you can see it's complaining about its type. So to solve this, we just need to install its types also. So I'm going to copy this and here I'm going to paste it and install the types for this AOS. Next, I'm going to set up AOS. So for this, I'm going to use a use effect hooks here, and here I'm going to add our use effect function. Then inside this use effect, we are going to create a function called init AOS. Here I am going to use async with an arrow function, and here I am going to await import AOS, and then I am going to init the AOS dot init, and here we have to pass some parameter. The first one is the duration. For the duration, I am going to use 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second, and we are going to use another parameter which is easing, and for this one it will be ease. Then we have once will be true, and finally we have anchor placement, and it will be top bottom. So you can find it here you can see they have a lot of parameters that you can customize, and you can learn more about by reading their documentation. Now we have to call our init AOS function. So for this I'm going to call our init AOS here. So our setup is completed. Now we are going to add the animation. So for this, first I'm going to open our hero section, and in hero section first we have this div, and here I'm going to add data dash AOS, and we are going to apply a fade left animation. And if I save, and here if I refresh, you can see it have a fade left animation. So it's sliding from the left. So after this we have this h1. For this h1 we are going to use this data.aos, and here we are going to use fade right, and here we are also going to add another data.aos property which is delay, because we want that first we have this div sliding, and then after some delay this h1 will appear. So we do not want this both will come to the screen at the same time. We want to have some delay between them. So there I'm going to add a delay of 200 millisecond. So after this h1 we have this p tag. Here we have data dash aos equal to feed left. Here we are again use feed left, and here I'm going to add a delay of 400 millisecond. You can use any of the animation type. You can learn more about it in the documentation. And after this p tag we have this button. I'm going to copy these two, and for the button I'm going to use zoom in, and here the delay will be 600 millisecond. And now for the image, this div we are going to use fade right. So fade right, and data dash aos will be 800. So now if I save and if I refresh the page, you can see the animation looks very nice. Next we have the animation for our about us section. So for this I am going to open our about us section, and here for the text we have a zoom in animation, and for the first one we do not need any delay, but here we are going to use another property which is data dash aos dash anchor dash placement. For this one I'm going to use top center. Now if I save, sorry, it will be for our image, so it will be here. And then after this div, for the text content, here we have data dash aos will be fade right, and anchor placement will be top center, and here we are going to use data dash aos dash delay equal to 200 millisecond. If I save and I refresh the page again, here you can see we have our hero section animation, and if I scroll here you can see we have our about us section animation which works properly. If I show you again, which looks very nice. Then we have this section animation which is our hosting option. For this I am going to open my hosting option .tsx file, and here for the first div I'm going to copy the previous aos properties. The first one have a data dash aos is equal to fade right, and the anchor placement will be top center. I'm going to copy this, and for the second one we have the same, but here we have a data dash aos dash delay of 200 millisecond. Now I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to paste it here and change that delay to 400 millisecond. And for the fourth card we have 600 millisecond. Now I'm going to save and I'm going to refresh the page again, and if I scroll you can see this animation looks very nice. Next we have this domain search. So for this I am going to open the domain search component, and here at the top in this div we have data dash aos is equal to zoom in, and here we do not need the delay, but we want the placement to top center. So that's it. Now if I refresh again and show you the animation, you can see it looks nice. Then we are going to animate this text part, which is our feature section. So I'm going to open the feature.tsx, and here at the top at the text content div we have data-aos. So delay, we do not need any delay here, but we are going to add a fade right animation. So now if I save and refresh again, this animation looks very nice. Then about us, then hosting option, then domain search, and here you can see the text fade from right. Next we are going to add the animation for our pricing section. So for this I am going to open the price.tsx, and here for the first div we have a property of fade. No, it will be flip right, and I'm going to copy this whole thing, and for the first one we are going to remove the delay, and then for the second one we have a delay of 200 millisecond, and then for the third one we have a delay of 400 milliseconds. Now if I save and if I reload the page again and scroll down to the price section, so here you can see we have our flip animation. Next we are going to add our animation in our block section. So for this I am going to open the block section, block.tsx, and here I am going to paste the previous copied data-aos properties, and here we are going to use zoom out. Now I'm going to copy this everything and remove the delay for the first block card, and for the second block card we are going to add a delay of 200 millisecond, and we have the same zoom out animation and top center, and for the third one we have a 600 millisecond, no, 400 millisecond. Now if I save and if I reload the page, you can see we have our hero section, then our about us section, then we have this hosting options, then domain, then this part hosting feature text, then we have this pricing animation, and finally we have our block section animation. So this is it for our animation. Finally, we are going to deploy our project in Vercel. So for the deployment, first we have to push our project in our GitHub. That's why I'm going to open my GitHub account. So I'm going to open my GitHub account, and here I'm going to create a new repository, and I'm going to name it web host next. Now I'm going to make it a private repository, and then I'm going to create a repository, and then I'm going to open my code editor, and I'm going to stop the terminal, and I'm going to delete the other terminal. So here first I'm going to run git init to initialize a git repository, then I'm going to add git add dot, so to add all the file in our git, and then I'm going to add git commit, and for the message let's say first commit, and if I go to the, here you can see we completed this part, and now I'm going to copy this one, git branch dash m main. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Next we are going to add our remote origin, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and finally we are going to push our project, so copy this and paste it here. Now it will push our project in our GitHub repository. So you can see it's completed. Now if I refresh the page, here you can see we have our project, our app folder, our public and everything. Now go to the virtual dashboard. If you don't have any account, you can create a account for free. Now in the virtual dashboard, click here to add new project. Then here you can see a box for import git repository. Here you can see the web host next, which we just push in our GitHub. So if this is not look at the same for your, you just need to connect your GitHub in the virtual. Here I am going to import the web host next, and let's change it to some name like web host w WebDev warrior. So this is the name, and now I'm going to click here to deploy. You can see the deployment started. Here it's installing the dependencies. So let's wait some time to complete the deployment process. Our deployment is completed. Now click here to continue to the dashboard. Here you can see you now have a custom domain. So if I click here, it will open our project. You can see the animation works properly. We have the hover animation, the login button, and if I scroll, you can see the navbar. It changes background color, and here we have our scroll animation, our hosting option with this beautiful hover animation. Then we have this domain search. Then we have this beautiful slider. Then we have the pricing section. Then the client review slider, the block section, and the footer. And here the scroll to top button also works properly. Now let's check the responsiveness. So if I select a mobile devices, here you can see we have our burger menu. If I click here, the nav sidebar will open, and if I click here, it will close. Now if I scroll, you can see it's fully responsive in mobile devices, and for the iPad devices everything looks very nice. Now you have a domain or custom link that you can share to your client, or you can add this to your resume. So that's it for today. If you have any question related to this project, you can ask me in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel for more interesting Next.js project. Thanks for today.